So today I've got my very dear friend Justin, and we're just going to have a great conversation. He's an Akashic Records reader and consultant, and he actually has the records open right now.
Welcome.
Yes, thank you. I'm so glad to get to talk to you with people who get to listen.
Yes, it's wonderful to do this and try this out together. Yeah.
Yeah, yes. So, did you want to say anything about the records at the moment, or should we dive in with our topic?
Sure. I'll say just a few words about what the records are for anybody who's new to this idea. Um, the records are a way of naming the intelligence of consciousness. And one of the features of the intelligence of consciousness is that it remembers everything that it does. Not in the way that we conventionally think of memory, like a brain that has stored narratives. It's more like consciousness simply has uh, an impression of everything that it does in itself, everything that's in potential and everything that it's, quote, done. In consciousness, there isn't really time. Time's a way of perceiving. So we're getting into metaphysics that are a little interesting and cool and crunchy. But in other words, it's a level of knowledge. It's a level of understanding that is very global, very universal. And I help bring people into this to get wisdom, guidance, perspective for their lives. And so I have it open now as a way to nourish this rich conversation around spiritual topics and take us even wider and deeper than maybe if they were closed.
Fantastic. Thank you. I definitely enjoyed your wisdom that gets accessed that way.
Yeah.
So, the reason I like the idea of starting with dying every moment was because we were in a group awareness exercise together, and there were several references you made to that. And it's just been an ongoing part of my life.
Mm.
So, was there anything happening for you when you were bringing that up?
Well, I don't remember what happened in the GAE. Does it's a kind of dying away of the part of me that tracks things. So there are two places where that really happens. One is in the records, and the other is in the GAE. And so I really let go of holding Justin and holding the part of me that I call the tracker. And so I can't remember for now what I was pointing at when I brought that up those times in the GAE. But what comes up for me now, as you bring up the topic, dying is like it's like this thing that we often feel is negative, like it's something to fear and something that is like the bad ending or the tragic ending to most stories is the death, either of like an actual person or one's livelihood or one's, one's situation, like that, endings are often feared. And what's coming to me now is that in the GAE, it's like the opposite is so true. It's that endings, deaths, prove that what I am does not die. That it's like further evidence. It's like this breath ends, I'm still here, My dreams don't come true, I'm still here. that the things that I normally might cherish or covet or I might even have them and they go, but I'm still here. And for some reason that brings a great joy to my soul to recognize that. And in the soul I love freedom. In my soul, that's what I want most. And so dying in every moment is like this, it's like this like universe like turnaround. Yeah.
Yes, for me, I would say I love that it's over. Like whatever happened, it's done. It's done.
Yeah.
If I had a conversation that didn't go well, if somebody said something that offended me, if blah, blah, blah happened, it's over. And
Yes.
I really don't know what the next thing is. So, like, I could have a coworker who, the last time we worked together, oh dear, just felt like I was pulling her load. But the next time we work together, I have no idea what she's going to be like.
Yes.
Zero. It's a brand new person. And all of a sudden, here she is. She's efficient. She's cheery. She's whatever. You just never know. And I love that I get this opportunity to discover that it is a gift. It's only if I'm bringing the past forward that I think there's a repeat.
Mm.
There's always a gift that I'm discovering.
I love that. Yes. It's such a great feature of life. The past just is over. The past is so done. I come from the world of theater, and that's one of the great things I love about theater is like when the play's over, it's over. When the production's closed, it's gone. And it's like clean slate, tabula rasa. It's something about the freedom of that really matches me. And like even earlier today, this morning, I attended a sexual harassment training. It was mandatory at my work. The state mandates that we do this. And it was activating for me because I was a victim of sexual harassment in grad school. And as we were going through all the scenarios of sexual harassment and all the proper ways that management should address sexual harassment, and I was thinking of all the ways management did fail to do a lot of those things. And but when the training ended, it was almost like, gosh, who was that guy who went through that? It was like, did that really happen to me? It wasn't like dissociation, like I was avoiding reality, because I was definitely remembering and moving through those moments, and yet there was this, like it was like in an open hand, like I didn't necessarily identify with the memory. And again, I think that phrase dying in every moment is also that feeling of I'm not made of what happened to me. We're conditioned in a way, but what we really are is not made of what happened to me or what somebody else did or my family did or a superior at work or school or whatever. And it's so calming and peace giving to me to feel that is true. Not just think that's true, but to feel that that's true.
Yes. Yes. It's interesting how if my mind is going to torment me, it's not about things that somebody did to me. It's mistakes I made, times that I wasn't kind enough. And,
Yes. So familiar with that one for you.
yes. And, there's every single thing that turned out or looked negative for me turned out to be positive. So I know that if I've done negative things to other people, it's an opportunity as a gift in their lives too. And that just really puts the innocence of the universe primary in my life. The universe is constantly benevolent. And since I know that so well for myself, I know that for other people. And I can just reassure that timid part of myself that's still wondering, what would the world have been better had I been nicer in that moment? No, it actually would not. This is the ideal world that the universe is bringing up new every moment.
Yeah. There really isn't a should that is true. And that's another wonderful thing about the dying in every moment, the way things die. All my shoulds die. And like internally, like in terms of like my mind and like my psychological structure, I really attribute that should part of me to like the inner critic, the superego. And there can be so much like personal internal compliance with that level of myself. And like for you, it might be like I should be kinder. I should always be kinder than the last Lisa. And you know, my shoulds are a little different, but the dying just takes those away. It's like none of that. None of those rules are true, and it's like every moment is a chance to wake up to that. It
Right.
it
It's
it's one of the great things about the dying.
Yeah, it's always old news. The
Yes.
moment it's all the way to a concept, it's already old news.
Yeah.
Because what is so spontaneous and instantaneous.
Yeah.
There's just no concept possible. Another way that I find myself loving this dying, the uh, the idea of security in any solid thing is so heavy. It's such a weight. It just is immediately suffering. I mean, in small ways, I've noticed that. Like, I was taking a walk, I was thinking I would love to be able to live in this house the rest of my life because I like it so much. And I felt like this heaviness with that thought. Like, what am I trying to do? Like, put the universe into a box?
Mm.
One house the rest of my life for certain? Then, but it also happens. I think of an orderly home as a place that runs more effectively and efficiently.
Mm.
And fortunately, Daniel only complies with a certain percentage of that.
Yeah.
It's wonderful that his, what, this mind would call disorder,
Mm.
comes in and look, can life run effectively and efficiently with this disorder and that waiting to be done for weeks or months or whatever, it's amazing. Well, yes, actually. In fact, our house could, I don't know, grow mold, I don't know, start falling apart. And most likely, actually, our life would probably still run efficiently and effectively. It's
Mhm.
really amazing how little order is actually needed.
It is so amazing. It's also so ridiculous how attached I can get to management. It's just like it's just like some days I'll turn around and be like, do I really want to be spending my living hours like this? It's just like, I mean, I have the freedom to do it, but is that what I want, you know?
Exactly. The manager just gets the ball and runs.
Oh my gosh, it could spend the rest of my living waking hours trying. It really could.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's
But
just yeah. Yes.
without it, there's this like, oh wow, like I'm not in a garden, I'm in a forest. Who knows what's around the corner? Who knows what wild animals are going to be there? Like, who knows how my life is going to unfold? And it's the mystery, while there's certainly the um, unknown challenges that could happen, there's a vibrancy that isn't in any of the manager stuff.
No, there's fear. And and again, this like thing and for me that becomes like compliance to kind of an internal boss or panel or like really it's a committee. Committee of authorities in my that I've internalized. Um, it is very limited, you know. It's like just drive in these lanes, you know, don't leave these lanes, don't go off road. And it's so human too. It's just like that my soul, the soul aspect of myself or my true self is just like very compassionate towards my manager. Like, yes, I can see that really pleases you to stay in the lines, but you know, life is gonna do something else.
Yes, it's funny. I mean, it doesn't look like you comply with that manager very much. I mean, you just do not seem to be in very many lines.
No, I don't comply very much. I have a few particular lanes that um, my mind, I find, has some attachment to, like the lanes of like success. So so there's a certain material, worldly kind of success that I find my mind is very focused on and like really kind of attached. And so when I do things that do nothing, have nothing to do with that narrative, it's like my managers start to get cranky, and and I get I get feelings of shame. I get, I can tell when I wake up in the morning that like I haven't done enough to please those parts of me, because I'll be like wake up and I'll be like, why do I feel like trash? What happened in my sleep to make me feel like I should be ashamed of like my life or something? And it's just because those parts feel like that is going to be true happiness, right? That's going to be true peace, or belonging, or something like that, is to show up in the world in a particular way, a successful appearance of success. And and it's a part of me that I interface with a fair amount, and I'm learning from, and um, I feel it's also, again, the dying, uh, that vision of happiness is has a lot of life in me, and it has like stages of dying, and so these reactions that can happen, uh, where like, oh, I compare myself to someone else, or there's like a shame thing that happens in my dreams. It's really funny how it happens in my dreams. It's like I'm not going to actively do it in my waking hours, but in my dreams, when I don't have control, they're going to go for it. You said something in one of your books that I think about pretty much daily. I think it's one of the more brilliant things I've heard from you, which is that the ego mind is sort of programmed to try to reify its narrative and itself, uh, so that it feels alive. And if you don't actively participate, it will find a way on its own to like have that experience. And you even gave it like a number. You were like, it could be like maybe like 20, 15, 25% of conscious life. It might be trying in the background to just reconstitute. And I was that gave me so much pause when I read that, because I'd never ever heard that idea of this like automatic psychological, involuntary psychological reifying. And before, it was like I just assumed it was all like conscious choice, and I'm like, no, it's like, no, no, no. This thing it's like having lungs. It's it seeks its life. So um, I'm in a phase now where I try to not judge anymore that part of my mind, and I just thank it for trying. I thank it for trying. It wants life too, and I'm very curious as to what real happiness is, and how all this dying, if you will, makes room for a new kind of life.
Yeah. Yes. Um, that thing about the disorder, just recently, it was a process. It took, I don't know, a month or two, probably not 2 months, but it took some time to die. It was really attached
Yeah.
to a particular thing about our camper, that there was water in there, blah blah blah.
Mm.
It was really attached, and I saw the pain. So I just really honed in, like, okay, you want to cause pain and you're not going away? Well, I'm going to pay attention. I'm going to give the pain all my attention and
Mm.
notice just how much pain it's causing me. And the pain just got so intense. I was like, really?
Mm.
It's more important to me to hold that belief and have that pain than to just let everything fall to the wayside and live a wild life.
Mm, mm.
And I was like, oh no, 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 no. The pain got too much. So the paying attention to the pain was wonderful.
Yeah.
And right now I'm doing this cleanse thing, and there is, it is true, as stuff gets released, the emotional stuff that went with that will come up. So I've had stuff that I haven't thought about for a long time coming up, coming up, coming up. And I already know, oh, well, that actually works out good. You
Mm,
don't have to worry about that. We already know that one works out good.
mm,
So now it's just become this constant, oh yeah, like I was unkind to a coworker, and now I'm really grateful that she held the space for my problems in that time period. So now I'm just like, oh yeah, remember that was the time to say thank you to her. So I just send a thank you.
mm.
Okay, there's that thought about what I should have done. No, no, no. There's a reminder to say thank you to her. And so all these thoughts just keep coming because it's a physical thing. So much of where we are mentally has very little to do with any true intention,
Mm,
really.
mm. Oh my gosh. Another true statement from Lisa Carrillo, that the activity at the mental level, people talk about thoughts having so much power. I'm like, um, there's like a trillion zillion thoughts that go through minds all day long. They have like this much power. Belief, I would say, is what has power. Uh, and from your story, it sounds like you really had conviction behind your gratitude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I'm really aware that I play a full puzzle piece.
Mm,
Sometimes I'm the giver, sometimes I'm the receiver. Sometimes I'm the nice one, sometimes I'm the mean one. Sometimes I'm the smart one, sometimes I'm the stupid one. Like
yeah.
that's what this experience is, to be totally interwoven with other people's lives. And how can you interweave if you're all just perfect circles?
Oh my gosh. So good. Yes. No, yeah, if it was just a bowl full of marbles, it would just be kind of boring.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. That's something I have loved about my experiences with you.
Mm.
You are very willing to say what you need. You actually pay attention in the moment that, hey, this is the next thing that's going to help my body or help my emotions or help whatever. You put it out there, and then you just see what's going to happen.
Oh, wow. I do. That's really cool to know. That's a lovely thing to know about myself. I did not know that. I bet if I asked more people, they might say that as well about me, that I speak what is happening. I speak what's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some people hate that about me. Actually, my sister once was like, told me like how offended she was that I would like take care of my needs. People who have lost valuing themselves in a certain way, when they come across someone who does value themselves in that way, the reaction is usually hatred,
Right.
because that's where they hate themselves, and they have to face it, but maybe they don't realize that yet. So yes, it's so important. I am coming to understand it's so important to recognize where we hate ourselves.
Oh, wow. That is such a beautiful topic. I had the same response, so it wasn't quite so strong, but I was irritated the first time I was discovering you doing that because I wasn't giving myself full permission. So I was always putting the lid on it in me. So
Mm.
when it happened in you, I want to put the lid on it in you. And I was like, wow, but he's what I want to be. I actually want to learn from him. And now, at work, there's a doctor I work with now and then. And at first, I wouldn't always remember exactly how he likes everything lined up. Like the garbage can might not be in the right place or
Mm.
whatever. And he would get irritated.
Mm.
And so I decided, okay, I'm never going to make him happy, but we can turn this into a joke. So I started playing around like, yeah, I'm the messy one, I'm the whatever.
Yeah.
And he started teasing about it too. Just totally turned around because I was okay with him hating me because I was the symbol of disorder for him.
That's so great. And then Daniel gets to play that in your drama.
Exactly.
That's so great. But it sounds like you welcome him, bringing his dust cloud with him.
Yes. Yes. Because his life, I mean, I don't know what measurement you could use, but in certain ways of measurement, you could measure his life and say it has worked out better than my life.
Yeah.
And I mean, he has really just kind of gone through each open door as it showed up. And when it closed, he left and waited till there was another open door. Like
Yes.
it's amazing. And his life has turned out much less efforting, way less efforting. And all the benefits of mine plus some more.
Oh, yes. He can show us all. That my records are open and they're very much confirming what you're saying about him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's amazing. I feel like I have the husband who's magic.
Yeah.
Like everywhere he goes, he's just magic. He's my magical whatever. And it's ridiculous that there's parts of me that get upset. I mean, why? When you have this talisman living in your own house, would you get mad at the talisman because it's the wrong color or something?
Because he'll have crumbs on the table. And then he could walk out the street, get hit by a car, be dead, and then those crumbs are now sacred crumbs. It's like our ideas of what things should be. It's just like, yeah. No, I also have a very magical partner who is similarly designed to Daniel, very similar, and that Rick's presence is very much infused with magic, and he works at an energetic level as a soul, shifting the energies just by being there and doing things his way. And I absolutely can get invested in, like, when he should do dishes, and when I, like all of these like silly rules that I picked up when I was a kid, I guess. And yeah, he gets so irritated. He gets so irritated. But it's similar. It's like I get to share a bed with this like talisman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Really. I mean, Daniel is a very ancient, skillful soul. It's his inner peace, regardless of the circumstances, is amazing. I mean, what he grew up in and how he came through almost unscathed is incredible. I mean, he's
Yeah. There are so many angels like this that just go what's the word? Unrecognized, like people like Daniel or Rick are not flashy. The contents of their minds is not like this shiny, attention getting thing. It's really their presence, sort of like the way a simple tree or a large stone or something like can be a frequency holder. And but at the level of their soul, there is an enormous intelligence.
yes.
Yeah. And I welcome the age where we all can see that about each other.
Yes. Oh, yes. It's so true. Something else I've been noticing in my life is um, there's a way, okay, so there's all the efforting, right? And then there's the just noticing the flow and in meditation being able to be 100% focused on just how natural that flow is.
Mm,
But there's a way of sitting in awareness that is actually just a tiny bit pulled back.
mm,
Like, oh, there's all the wondrous things out there, and I'm a little in the observer position, or I'm um, still holding this sort of cautiousness towards life.
Mm, mm,
I've been really playing with making sure that I'm on the edge of the aliveness, that
mm,
I'm feeling it upwelling within me. So all those truest desires, they are it too. So it's really put another standard, like that moment when I'm looking out over a mountain and I just see the wondrous beauty. It takes my breath away because it's so awesome. Being available for that level of awe rather than, being in a kind of pulled back, retreated observer mode.
mm. Very, very cool. Sounds like um, this thing I've heard before called the seasons of awakening, which maybe you've heard also.
I haven't heard
So there's a winter time, which would be kind of the dying phase, where the old conditioned self and its agendas come to an end, and and there is this thing the mind can do in that dying where it takes a position, like you just said, right? It takes that witness position as if to recreate a new me. That's gonna it's gonna hurt a lot less just to live as this agendaless observer. Um, but that has to die too, because that's just a mental position. And then it makes room for the springtime, the new life, which is really to me like the soul just moves into 3D. It wakes up. You mentioned you're doing a detox, and I feel like detoxing has a lot of that as well. It's like you remove the things that are putting different parts of the body to sleep, that are making it stagnant, and it wakes that part of you up, parts of the body up, when the detox is kind of hit a critical mass, and then it renourishes, and there's a new level of optimal health. And so for me, like this you're describing, this like feeling in the heart of moving into the wishes in the heart, um, is to me one of the hallmarks of the springtime phase of awakening, is because those wishes in the heart become the most important thing. They become the most important thing, and they're impersonal. And that's what I find really wild about them, is that sometimes they have nothing to do, for example, with my success lane. Like I have some wishes that do live in that lane of ambition and grandeur and things that people notice, but I have other wishes in my heart that have nothing at all to do with other people or success. I mean, sometimes it's just like I just want to stare at a puddle in the sunlight. Like that's the wish in my heart. I want to see that beauty. And so it becomes sort of like, for me, it becomes sort of like, how can I fulfill the wishes in my heart today? Like, divine intelligence, please move through me, show me truth and clarity. I have this little prayer I do in the mornings now. It's sort of like that, where I ask divine intelligence to show me the way, essentially. And to me, it's a part of that springtime where there is this desire to do 3D. Like when we do GAE, I don't know if anybody who's watching this knows what that is, or it means group awareness exercise. And we essentially meditate together, but we speak descriptions of awareness in a few words, and it's very deepening in the embodiment and the abiding in awareness. And where was I going to go with this? I forgot.
the desires of the heart and going into 3D.
Yes, that in my soul and my heart, I love illusion. I love appearances. I love duality. Like there's this whole thing in spirituality that like duality is somehow false, or like if you're interested in duality, you've like gone the wrong path or something. And it's like, well, in my soul, it's pretty clear that duality is the party, man. Like that's where it's at.
That is so true. I mean, there's something that has been going through my mind is stop, or let's see. Well, anyways, when you stop talking and thinking, there's nothing you will not be able to know.
Yes.
And so,
Yes.
yes, out of the conceptual world, there's this vibrancy that is manifesting everything here and is in love with it. I mean, there's a preciousness that infuses it all. So, yes, you know, I love I love being in the form and getting to engage with all this form. I also love the intimacy of the timeless infinite, you
Mm.
know, and there it is revealing itself in form. So it's not a conflict. It's all the same.
It is all one, as they say in the Buddhist tradition, right? Form is emptiness, emptiness is form. Yes, both and. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So how have those desires of the heart been showing up for you in the past year?
It's been a lot of personal healing. So, like I mentioned earlier, right, about really attending to the places in myself where I still feel self-hatred. And like you were describing, this pain in you around disorder in your home or in your camper. Like experiences like that, like really being aware of those, um, not avoiding that stuff. I think the first half of my life, I kind of uh, would very carefully attend to those feelings, but not really go as much as really follow them like you were doing, you know, to really understand. And so this past year, I feel like there's been more of that in myself. Um, a lot of that has shown up through loving my partner, right? The way he shows up for himself, that triggers me is like usually the best sign. It's like right there. Like, don't need to go traveling, don't need to pay $1,000 for a seminar. Like, it's right there. um, and spending a lot of time in the records and questioning the records about my feelings and these things. And appreciating more the divine intelligence, the the schedule of the divine intelligence, the rhythm of divine intelligence. Just being a lot more curious about what is the plan at that level, and getting less involved in kind of what I was mentioning earlier, like where am I making good on my plans, and comparing that to other people or to like an ideal or something like that, but getting much more curious about how is the universe or the divine intelligence, which is a part of me and at a deeper level, truly myself, um, operating. Where is it going? And the records have been an amazing way to actually get concrete information about timelines and the arcs of things, and and to feel even more free to just let go, just let it all go. It's so great to release the manager parts from their role. It's so much energy can be released into the divine creative.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It is a release. Such a release. And then there's new ones. And then there's new ones. So do you have an example of where you were talking about how seeing the timeline, seeing the um the divine plan, like how seeing that as you open the records really released something for you,
Yeah.
good of you.
Yeah. So for example, I I took a full-time job in October, which I've never really had in my life. I've always been a freelancer. I've always been someone who sort of patchwork cobbled together my income, and that worked for me. And I could somehow MacGyver that and earn my income and do okay. And I got to a point where I was like, it would be nice to not put so much energy into income generation and just understand where it's all coming from, um, and just be able to organize my time with some constants, more constancy. And that's felt really great. It was in alignment. And it did take time away from my creative life. I'm used to writing every day, playing around, making music, um, you know, catching up on projects with collaborators, and all of that has been quiet. And there's been this restlessness in me of like, that's wrong. That's wrong. That can't be the way we live. That's misery. And so the records have been helpful for me to see into when will I have space to create. And what I found was that I don't need to actually be in the physical act or practice of writing to be a writer and to be writing. Like, it's happening in the shower. It's happening on the drive to the gym. It's I mean, it could be happening right now between you and I in the background. I'm not. They're saying yes, it is. And that there is this like handoff to divine intelligence to take care of it. It's amazing. Like this is such a wild story. I live in Providence, in a suburb of Providence, and we live in the top stories of a duplex, and we look out the back of our house onto our backyard, and then to the backyard of the backyard neighbor. And every time I look at that house, which has trash in the yard, and they have a big German Shepherd, which there's dog poop in the yard, and it's an old man who lives alone with his German Shepherd. And every time I look at it, I'm like, that is a set for a play. That is a play. And every time I look at it, the play starts to write itself. And then I got a download that it wasn't a play, it was an opera. And yeah, and and it kept coming and kept coming, and eventually I was like, opened my records. I'm like, are you wanting me to write an opera about this old man and his dog? And they're like, yes. And I'm like, well, when? And they're like, don't worry about it. We'll write it. You just sit down one day and it'll be there. And so it's been so fantastic. Like, I'll see it and like, oh, there's a scene. Just looking out my window, doing dishes, or like using the bathroom. Like, the whole thing is just being written. Even the music. I'm not a musician who can write like an opera score, but like I'm hearing it and I'll start singing it in the shower, and like it's fabulous. I've never created this way, and it's so like, again, a wish in the heart that like feels impersonal. I mean, that's the hallmark for me. It feels given, it's impersonal, it's a gift, and all I have to do is just be the one to put it into 3D. That to me is the best form of writing, because oh my god, I used to spend so much time like crafting and struggling and sacrificing my well-being to like birth the next masterpiece. Just like bananas. It's like so wrong. Whatever, we all have the right to be ignorant of how things work, but my god, but to discover that this divine intelligence really, all it needs is just me to just put it down. Like, I don't have to like slave and push all these things aside to get it out. It's so exciting. I have no idea if this opera will be produced. I have no idea if they're saying yes, it will. you know? But the thing is, I don't have to hold that like they do,
That's so true.
you know?
That feeling of, wow, this is even better than I could have imagined. That
Yeah.
is a hallmark of truth. Like, no way would I have come up with that idea.
Yeah.
Like that it could write that easily? Never.
Yeah. Never ever would I've been like, I have degrees out the wazoo, you know, Ivy League, you know, the Sorbonne, like I'm trained like crazy. It's like I could have like done something completely else with that time. You know? You know, it's one of these things in our culture where I guess we have to initiate people into like these gauntlets to say you've earned your place in adulthood or something. And you know, you do something extremely hard with your youth and like get beat up by life in some way, and we'll call it, you know, something fancy, and so you feel like it's worth it. It's like if I could go back, oh my god, no. Like it's just like no. Yeah. If I could go back to that time, oh my god, I would do it so differently. I would do it so differently. I would, oh my gosh. Everything is fine. Everything is good. You don't need to learn anything. It's just like you don't. You don't. Just like enjoy creating. It's just that's it.
Yes.
You know, you don't need to prove anything with it. You don't need to like, oh my God, there were so many things I absorbed and really like uh believed from that time. It was like a virus that I had.
Yeah, well, you seem really free from the virus.
Yeah, well, it's been a journey, and I will. They're saying, don't count on those words. Yes, I am at all times totally free from whatever viruses there might be, and you know, there are parts of me that can still subscribe. It can still like you never know like what could Velcro.
Mhm.
You know, I'm open. I mean, what can Velcro can unvelcro. So even if it does temporarily come in, it's temporary. Yeah.
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 It's, there was those couple weeks when I kind of lost the sense of being a human. And I, I had a coaching client and she was telling me her problem, and I couldn't really relate. It just seemed like it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. and and that's when something in me shifted. It was like, okay, I want to still be relevant in the human experience.
Mm.
And so it's really a gift each time I discover, oh yeah, here's another place I get to let go, because it keeps me in this place where I can engage in a different way.
Mm.
So I'm really grateful for all the freedom I feel, and I'm really grateful for the moments when I'm struggling with something where I've got a concept that just seems so certain. And
Yeah.
the process of letting it go is really fun.
Yeah. I'm thinking a lot of Byron Katie right now as you describe that, and how she gets really excited when there's a belief that has new life in her. She looks forward, you know, that turnaround. I'm willing to. I look forward to. It's like it's that's her favorite. From what
Right.
I see. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I like those thoughts about me hurting somebody because it's a reminder I get to send them blessings.
Yeah.
When I remind myself of those supposed past experiences, what really happened.
Do you have dreams where you um, enact, you know, forbidden things, quote unquote, forbidden for you, Lisa, or you believe things and you live them out?
I just had one. One of my only, really, I usually, most of my dreams, I'm at conferences with people I don't know in this life, but I do a lot of meetings. In my dreams, a lot of meetings. Um, but yeah, just recently, I had one where I was so angry. I mean, I was angry at a level, it was it felt orgasmic in my body. It was
Wow.
so much anger. I couldn't, as I was writing what I needed to say to express my anger, and my body was just undulating with the intensity of it all.
Mm,
And so that was definitely nothing I would experience in real life. It was opening up a level of certainty about this is what I want.
mm,
That ended up coming through as anger because it took so long to get recognized.
mm,
But it was a recognition of what I want needs more avenue of expression. Like, totally take the barriers off the side of the road. This is not a 2 lane. This is not a 4 lane. This is a mile wide road here. We need some room.
mm, mm. Beautiful. That's great. I love that you could recognize the anger's capacity to make space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have dreams about other forbidden stuff?
My dreams are epic sagas. I live full lives in my sleep. I'll wake up and I'll describe my dreams to Rick, and he's just flabbergasted, like how that could possibly, like how could you remember first of all that much? And like most people don't remember their dreams apparently, but I've gotten into the habit of writing them down when I have them. The other night, I had a scene from the opera in my dream.
Wow.
Yeah, I wrote part of the opera in my sleep, and I woke up and I was like, "That's incredible." It's just like it's like total autopilot. I don't have to drive the car like at all. I did write down what came to me, but have I done forbidden things in my dreams? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I've murdered. Um, I've I've committed like I've had dreams that were like genocides. I just had a dream recently where I dreamt I was living in Syria in Damascus, and I had been placed there because I wanted to do like a fellowship, like a writer's fellowship in a foreign country, or my job had placed me over there for a year or something like that. And however, Damascus was about to go off, like in terms of conflict, sort of like what happened in Beirut and in Palestine. And all the Westerners were being shepherded into a plane to leave. And I'm in this dream in this plane, and the plane's taking off, and uh, the terrorist groups had set off bombs in all the buildings in Damascus, and they were all crumbling as the plane was leaving. And the pilot says, "It's unsafe to fly. We're in a war zone. We're going to go back." In my dream, I'm like, "What? That's safer." But the dream keeps going, and I live a life in this war-torn city, and make friends, and like learn from them and the local Syrians, and uh, have relationships, and it was wild. And I wake up, I'm like, Rick, I like had a whole life in Syria. I don't know if that answers the question about forbidden things, but that's the last one of the more recent dreams I've had where that epicness uh, was really strong, and and I also woke up with just enormous empathy for those people living in these places. Um, I have some clients who are in these places, in fact, and uh, it, I can't even. Yeah, I just had so much empathy for living around that kind of conflict.
Yeah, I would think there was a resolution of fear of a certain type in you. I mean,
Yes. Yes. I think there was. I think, whenever in a dream or in my dreams, when there is that crumbling of a major structure like a city, um, something big is shifting in my psyche. Some maybe superego structure stuff. I then went and looked up Damascus, the word and its importance and all that. Yeah, biblical.
yeah, yes. The crumbling, that's part, I guess, kind of rounding back to the beginning.
Yeah,
Crumbling is always the birth.
yeah,
And it's, uh, we have conditioning that says we don't need the crumbling, but the crumbling is it. Every time there's an end, there's the beginning, and there's always every moment an end and every moment a beginning. I love that Byron Katie says, "You're not enlightened. You're enlightened in this moment,
mm,
or enlightened to this moment."
yeah,
It's
yeah. Exact. There are no enlightened people, but there are enlightened moments.
exactly, and
Yeah,
there's not a, a hierarchy. It's in this moment. And it doesn't even matter. That's so wonderful. It doesn't even matter if I've added on a bunch of layers of identification. Okay, what is here too.
yes,
It's never not here.
yes, yeah, yeah. In that dream, I remember now distinctly feeling that experience. Like the plane goes back to Damascus, and it's like, no, you're gonna live your life in the war-torn city for a little while, and like, and understand it. And that feeling that you know so much change was happening, but that what was true was very present in me, the figure in the dream, but also all the other figures in the dream that I was interacting with. There's a hotel like bellhop. There was this woman and her daughter, and everyone had this look in their eyes of like, yes, this is happening, but I'm not afraid. And and there was such beauty to that. There was such again that feeling of reassurance and peace when things die that I mentioned earlier. Because when they go, it just proves even more that reality isn't going anywhere.
Right.
Mm.
Ah, that, in any extreme situation I've been in, that is really to discover there's nothing to be afraid of. There is the strength that knows this moment is the only moment and I'm here for it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
if I'm here for this next moment as this or as something else, I'm here.
Mm.
There's just nothing to be afraid of.
Mm. Do you experience fear anymore?
Um, what would have made me afraid? Trying to think. I mean, I would guess I don't, I can imagine what fear feels like. Oh, I would guess the closest thing is um, being afraid that I'm going to make somebody really mad at me, and I don't know if, what's going to come out of that
Mm.
tension. That would be the closest thing. Um, and in that case, the aliveness is so worth it,
Mm.
and that doesn't mean that I don't sometimes still shift myself, but then I catch it and I'm like, oh, I don't have to shift myself. I can be the authentic and see what shows up. Yeah, that really, I would say that's the last thing that can bring up any fear.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds fabulous. I don't have that much absence of fear. I still experience anxiety and fear in a pretty regular way. I, I don't really feel like it is driving the car of my life, but it's more like kind of a toddler in the back seat, you know? And I have a personality that is a fear type, and and so it's just such a more core part of my embodiment, I guess. Um, that I think for you, who is a heart type, is you just kind of less karmic load there, probably.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I would say remains for me is more attuning to every moment. What is life calling? Just really playing it full out rather than having a separate awareness. Okay, and how's that going to affect other people? Okay, that's going to be all right. Go forward. Oh, not even noticing how
Mm.
that's going to affect other people. I mean, of course it's there. It's not like I wouldn't see it, but there's, instead of having the 15% or 20% attention there, bringing that back.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would,
And I love also what you've been saying about like there could be so much good in triggering somebody, you know? There could be all these unwanted experiences and feelings. It's just like whose rule, whose standard? It's like life might have a bigger plan around all of that. And there's so much like pathologizing and categorizing of behavior and feelings as things that need to be helped or changed. And the older I get, the more I realize it's like, no, these need to be savored. All the shame, all the anxiety that I can come across. It's like it doesn't need to be shifted or changed. It's so endless too. It's like self-help or you know, so personal growth. It can become like this gigantic, dog chasing its tail situation.
right.
It's just like, yeah. I've been that dog many times.
It's a very, very narrow lane. And
Yeah.
when you start pursuing it, it just gets narrower and narrower and narrower. It's like, can I be a straight line all the time? Oh my gosh, that'd be way too boring.
Yeah. And to me, when I'm like that, it's just a sign that like those managers are driving the car and their agenda is again like stay in that lane. And what can I control? Oh, me. That's what I'll control.
Yes, I used to have so many dreams of the brakes not working in my car. I mean, that was and I'm coming toward really highest speed down a freeway, down a hill. I mean, it's always at the very highest speeds and my brakes don't work. And, and, that's that sense of who knows that this thing's going,
Yes.
really is the potential of the most full life. I mean, I that's a feeling that more and more can be in my life because it's not a bad feeling, it turns out.
It's freedom. It's at the level of my soul. It's perfect alignment.
Yeah.
It's
So,
perfect alignment.
yeah.
Mm.
Well, thank you so much, Justin.
Oh, Lisa, you bet. Let's do this every day. This is so fun.
It is. It's really great.
I just so enjoy your perspective and your energy. The things you recognize and acknowledge are just fabulous.
Yeah.
Um, oh, that's my partner telling me soup's ready. The talisman. Oh my gosh, yes. Every day, That would be such a blessing. But I thank you for this invitation. Let's do this again.
Yeah, absolutely. I love you very much, Justin. It's
Yes.
just ah, it is such a brush of fullness to
Yes.
be able to experience life through your journey.
Oh, so similar. So very much true of my experience of you. You live life so fully. You completely threw out the manual of Lisa, and like you really did. And and embrace being this like alive, wild mystery person. And the more that comes out, the more obsessed with you I become. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll do this again soon.
Yes, we will. All
Big
right.
hug.
Big hug. Bye, everybody.